Hi, how are you? Year 2024 is ending and year 2025 is starting. How has your year been? And do you have some plans for 2025 or some thoughts or some New Year's resolutions? For me, 2024 was a busy year. It was a year of family celebrations, milestones, if you like to call them. My husband and I, we both turned 50, which is, of course, a certain milestone, but I didn't take it so seriously. And our eldest was graduated, so she's officially adult now. And our youngest had her first communion, and she is adult now in the eyes of the church. And then there was, of course, the birth of our first grandson, and he's christening in the autumn. So we had family celebrations that were held in our house, and all the hustle that comes with that. I talked about those in my previous videos. If you like to hear what it's like to be in the middle of things and everything is mess. But everything turned out fine in the end. And of course, looking back 2024, I have to be grateful. I have to be grateful that we have wonderful children that are growing up. Yes, I think it's fabulous that they are growing up. They are growing up to be persons, human beings, not just children. So the type of discussion that we have with our family is evolving and changing all the time, and I really enjoy that. And between all those family celebrations, we did travel some. So we were in Barcelona for our 50th birthdays, and then my husband traveled for work to Singapore, and I went along with him. And then we had our 2 weeks in Italy with the children. And it was great fun. It was something that really takes you away from the day-to-day life. And we really enjoyed that. And those are the things that we normally do in a normal year. But all this puzzle and hustle was on top of that. And now, of course, Christmas celebrations, but it's a little bit different because Christmas is every year. Although I have to say that in this Christmas, it was catastrophe-free. If it hasn't been before, always. I just told my husband, I don't know what has been your most not like unique Christmas. But if I think about the near history, it comes to mind that we had this one Christmas that in a Christmas day, my husband got a terrible toothache. He had an infection in the gums, and it was really like crucial, the pain. And of course, in the Christmas day, it's not very easy to find a dentist that will take you because they are on holiday too. So he suffered from the toothache. Of course, we got him on the dentist, but it still continued, and the antibiotics for 2 weeks, and all the hassle that comes when your tooth is really badly wrong. I think that there has been some chipping early on when he was young and active and get into trouble all the time. But that's another story. And then at the same time, our eldest left her boyfriend and wanted to move out of the apartment. And the trouble was that it was like 6-hour drive away in the depth of the winter. So we went there and moved her stuff from one place to another. But at the same time, she had a broken ankle, so she was wearing a crutch and couldn't do basically anything. So it was me and our youngest daughter. She was then, I think, 11. we did the heavy lifting over there, but it went fine. But it wasn't a typical Christmas, New Year's holiday, because it was quite stressing and quite painful for half of the folks. But sometimes Christmas holidays don't go like you planned, but we survived that. The other thing that I just thought about was that, do you remember the previous New Year's? Because there is always this kind of puffle about New Year's, but do you actually remember what kind of New Year's resolutions or what kind of New Year's celebrations have you had? I remembered, or suddenly remembered, or realized that it's 25 years since it was 2000. And do you remember the panic in 2000? I remember working and trying to like double save all the information, because everybody was afraid that the computers will suddenly stop working and collapse because they don't understand the 0-0 system. And nothing happened. But it was a tremendous amount of work before the year end. And for God's sake, it was 25 years ago. So I don't feel old, but that feels like, okay, I was working 25 years ago. Well, of course I was. But what's the earliest New Year that you can remember? If I think about it, it must have been 1980, because when I was a kid, we had this kind of tradition, because we didn't celebrate New Year's, that when it was midnight, then you take a pen and write the new year on a paper, whichever paper you have close to you. And I remember writing 1980. And I was just a kid, a 7-year-old, 6-year-old, and I can just like draw the numbers. But that's the furthest memory of a New Year's that I have. Of course, I remember that my father did the fireworks because he loved them. So we had fireworks every New Year's. But that was for the past New Year's. But what to do in 2024, 2025? I'm clumsy now. What to do in 2025? I have a feeling that we need some kind of change of structure. We have been living this life with not small but young children that are now growing up. So we need some kind of a change. Some kind of change to like really stop that taking care of children mode, the mom mode from my head, and move more to the life of just two adults. My husband has dreamed of these years that we would move back to the city center, away from the suburbs, and it would be a project, I know, but we have been thinking about it, that might be the change that we need and we are able to do. And at some point, or at that same point, I could move my offices to the same space that we live, or to the same apartment, not the same space, but to the same apartment, and that would make a lot of difference, and it would save money quite a lot, because office spaces are in here dreadfully expensive, and I don't think that it would inevitably affect my income or my company, not in a negative way, I think. But that's something that we have been thinking about. And of course, if we get more money saved, then we can do more things. We can maybe travel more. So that's what we have been thinking, or it has been simmering below the surface for some time. And I think that 2025 might be the year that we will make some changes. And of course, we have planned our holiday for next year. Not the specifics, but I have booked a house already for 2 weeks in Italy for the whole family, but not plane tickets or anything else. So we are somehow in the middle of it. I have booked a house, but we want to stay behind to Italy, just the two of us with my husband, and that's not booked yet. So there is still a little bit of work to do to plan everything. And of course, it takes a little bit extra planning because our grandson is coming along. So everything has to be like 1 year old proof. And then this was, of course, what I started last year. I started this channel. I started to talk about things in here, and that was quite a big change because I have been a very private person. I, of course, still am. And I haven't spoken much about my affairs to anyone, but starting this channel was like totally turn around with that, because now I'm sharing with you more or less private issues in my life and what I think. And I will continue this channel, but I have been thinking about what I will talk about next year. And there's 2 ideas that I have. First was actually, or has been in my mind all the time since I started to think about the channel, was that I would talk about complex post-traumatic stress disorder, because I live with it, and it's a part of my everyday life. And I know that there are many people who suffer from it and try to get better if it's possible to get better. So I think that I will dedicate some videos talking about it and talk about more about the effect that it has to my life in the normal videos. And the other thought that I have was to slow talk videos, some kind of calming subjects and calming soft voice spoken, because I think that people are very anxious nowadays. They are very, very busy and very, very distracted of many things, and that would be something that would be possibly useful for people to help them calm down. And at the same time, I can tell you how I calm myself down, because that's a challenge nowadays, to have a time and space to calm down. So those have been my thoughts for this channel. And of course, it has been a journey to make these videos and learn all these things and think about all these things, and of course think about what I cannot talk in here. But those are the main thoughts that I had just sitting here now about 2024 and the next year, 2025. Have you got plans or resolutions? I don't make resolutions for New Year's. Of course, I did that when I was young, because young people do that, but I don't do that anymore. I don't drink excessively. I don't smoke. I don't eat sugar. I have no weight to lose. That is my permanent solution or resolution, is to fit more exercise to my daily schedule, and that I try constantly. But I have to say that during these Christmas holidays we have been going for a walk every day with my husband, no matter what the weather, and the weather is bad, I can tell you that. But thankfully, New Year is always the year when the sun comes up again, and I really wait for that, because it's now very dark. It's extremely dark all day around, but it's nice to have the sun back. Slowly, the days will get longer, and I will get more energy from the sun. But that was all from last year and New Year's, and I hope you have a great New Year's celebration if you have one, and I see you in 2025. Goodbye.